So the theme for the entire year has been and continues to be Together We Rise. And in the month of August, we have been talking about inseparable connection and how we are inseparably connected to the Creator, to Spirit, to God, that the connection with our Creator, there is absolutely nothing that can come between us or anything that Spirit has created. And because of that, we are all connected to one another and to all of life. The third principle in our declaration of principles, where we actually, within Centers for Spiritual Living and Science of Mind, itemize out the 14 or 15 basic principles that we go back to time and time again. And one of those, the first principle is there is one God, the creator of all life. But the third principle is this one. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. And in the last week and a half, we have, as a community, had an opportunity to remind ourselves that we believe in the eternality of every individual soul because we have experienced what feels like a loss to us in our human experience of 3 very active members. And so if you have not already heard, we want to make sure that you know that the continuity of the souls of Stephanie Roman, Paula Arnold, RSCP, and Reagan Holtz, that continuity of their soul is continuing. It is simply continuing where we can't see them, touch them, feel them, hug them. But we know that it continues. And one of the things that I love about Ernest Holmes is even as he gives us these principles that we are guided by, in the textbook he also writes, it is human to grieve over the loss of loved ones. And he reminds us that we are here having a human experience. And so we encourage you, if you knew and still know the presence of Stephanie or Paula or Reagan, that you stand in that place of the both and, that you stand in that place of knowing their individual souls are continuing, and you allow yourself the opportunity to feel the sadness and to feel the grief that you may feel for yourself individually and for all of us collectively as CSLDallas, as we make adjustments to fill some very big shoes on the music team, some very big hearts in our sacred service team and in our practitioner corps, and fill the unfillable shoes that have been the footprints that have been left by all 3 of these remarkable women. This is proof that we are inseparably connected. Whether we are present with each other in the physical form or in the spiritual community, we are inseparably connected. And today the focus is that we are stronger together. We know that there are times when we are achieving as individuals, and it's great. right? We get that high from achievement and from succeeding and exceeding our goals. We get really excited when we have an idea and then we see it happen in real life. In the class, in the Science of Mind class this morning, Shauna shared a story and an example of how she's been saying affirmations about the direction of her business, and it's not magic, but things have happened beyond anything she could have imagined. That's the individual connection with spirit itself, the individual connection of living the spiritual life, of seeing demonstrations occur, of manifesting your dreams. Every one of you has stories of those demonstrations where you have stood in your faith and watched your life transform. And if you don't have at least one of those stories, then you need to come hang out with us a little bit more. Because in the CSLDallas community, we teach this, we demonstrate it, we model it, we show it, and we remind you week after week after week how to have those individual successes. But the reality is that everything we individually do is contributing to a collective experience, whether that is in our families, whether that is in our work or school communities, whether that is here at CSL Dallas and in the spiritual community, whether we're in person or whether we're online. Our individual successes are important. But for the deepest change and for the broadest change, where we experience as a community, as a city, as a nation, as a global citizenry, when we want to experience change, we need each other. And I don't know about you, but if you're like me, you read what's happening in our world today, and you recognize the challenges we all face in common, and you know you can't do it alone. Some of you know I have a Facebook group, and the question is, what is mine to do to interrupt or end race-based hatred and violence? It's a kind of long question, but I'm so used to saying it now. It's just like, what is mine to do to interrupt or end race-based hatred and violence? And that is because we all have something we can do. Maybe your focus is, how do you interrupt or end homelessness so that we have more people who are sheltered than unsheltered, and that we make that transformation. Maybe your direction or your passion is on, like Armando Cantu in our community. How do I help people who have been unemployed or who have limited resources or who have been incarcerated get back into the workforce and build technical skills? Maybe for you it is, how can I have an impact on, like Lainey does, on helping people use their vocal skills in a more productive way, because they want to sing and they want to praise and they want to use their voice for good. Every one of us has ways that we influence the global change, the community change. And all of us need people in our various communities to help us achieve our personal and individual goals. It does not happen just because I'm smart and pretty and bright and friendly and right. I can be all of those things, and I still need you. I still need you. I still need the people I engage with. So this idea of being stronger together is not just a great idea Tracy had for a talk title. Literally, the phrase, or a phrase similar to stronger together, is used worldwide, and it's used in many spiritual and political and community contexts. I was having a conversation with one of our ministers in the Science of Mind movement in Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend Alex Escudero in Washington, D.C. And we were talking about this idea of being stronger together. And she said, well, Tracy, you know, there are some countries in South Africa that have as their national motto, La unión hace la fuerza. Unity makes strength. It is the unity, us coming together, that makes us strong. And so, of course, I actually believed her, but I also looked it up and found that not only were there 2 or 3 countries in South America, but there were other nations that had the same theme or a similar one, or other movements that had the same theme or similar ones. In the Netherlands, in the original Dutch Republic, they used the Latin phrase that reminds us that we have to work together in order to have the success that we want. I even found that in Chinese, there was the phrase, unity is strength. And it's been used by several different movements at different times in the history to remind us that we must move together if we want to move forward. And in French, you also have the unity makes strength. And so in Belgium and in other parts of Europe that speak French, you will find the same phrase. So I would like to say, you all know me, I am so brilliant that I came up with something new. We should be stronger together. I would love to be able to say that, but it wouldn't be true, and I wouldn't be in integrity if I took credit for it. What I do take credit for, however, is making a commitment that I choose to live in a way that offers my wisdom, my experience, my learnings, my lessons, my understanding whenever and wherever I can, not because I assume I am always right, but because I know that I need input from you and you need input from me. This is what it means to be stronger together. We grow together. We share information, just like we share our problems and solve them together. So as we think this month and focus this month on our inseparable connections, we are reminded that a part of that is learning from each other, sharing with each other, and not assuming that my way is the only way or my way is the best way. And that is true for our individual success as well as for our success in whatever community we are working with, or that any community or group that we are a part of. The mistake that many of us make is that, one, there are two. The first mistake that many of us make is that we think we can do it alone. And we take ownership when we should just take responsibility for our part. Because none of us owns anything totally. It is operating as part of a group or a family or a sangha or the relationship that we have with our friend or our family member or our coworker. So one mistake is we confuse ownership and responsibility. We do have responsibility for making our connection and for taking responsibility for our part in the end result. But none of us ever owns the whole result. And the second mistake we make is this one. Now, let me just take a breath. Let it out. Because I know I'm going to step on a couple of toes with this one. The second mistake we make is that we wait for somebody else to do it. I did my prayer work. I'm doing my meditations. That's all I have to do. You know, if Alex has a problem, then he just needs to fix that. Right? I don't have anything to do with that. And so, homophobia? Yeah, there's a lot, or anti-Asian hate, there's a lot of that's been happening. Well, that's bad. I don't like it. But it's nothing I can do about it. So we wait for other people to change the world. And we have all kinds of excuses. We may think it's because of our age or because of our socioeconomic ability or our education or where we're located. But we're constantly saying, well, I'll just wait on you to do it. I'll wait on the world to change. I will wait and somebody else will take care of it. Well, that's mistake number 2. And I've asked the music team to remind us of our human thinking around that. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how to move from there to be stronger together.
We see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. It just feels like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. It's hard to be persistent when we're standing at a distance. So we keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. Now if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on their door. Or when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know that the fight ain't fair. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. So we keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. Oh, we keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change.
Wow. Waiting on the world to change. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amazing. But stop doing that. Stop waiting on the world to change. Be a part of the change. Be a part of that change and not waiting for somebody else to fix what seems to be broken, because we know that the world has been created perfectly. And anything that is not working, that is not reflecting the nature of God, the love, the beauty, the wholeness, the peace, the joy, is a result of what we as individual humans and we as humanity and the collective have decided. The systems we've put in place, who we've included, who we've excluded, who we value, who we don't value, that's all human. Because in the truth of spirit, everything and everyone has been created of equal merit and value. Everyone is different, which we talked about last week. Oneness is not sameness. But all of the hierarchy, all of the judgment, that's coming from humanity. Rabindranath Tagore reminds us, individually we are one drop, but together we can be the ocean. We're not just the one drop. The ocean is in us, and we collectively make the ocean. So let's not forget that as we are moving forward in our lives this week. Let's not forget that when we are planning and working and savoring our individual accomplishments. Let's not forget that we are at choice, and a big part of our choice depends on how we choose to engage with others. Sometimes we talk about the biggest decision that we need to make is a choice, a decision about whether or not we believe we live in a friendly universe. If I believe I live in a friendly universe, then I know people are for me, not against me. If I live in a friendly universe, then I can believe that I am here for a purpose and that I will have all the support that I need internally and externally. If I believe that I live in a friendly universe, then I am always looking forward to what I want and moving away from the things that happen that are not what I want. And all of that happens based on how I trust and engage with others. Whether it's as small as in my family of one or two, well, I guess if it's a family, there are 2 or 3 or more people, or whether I'm talking about being a member of the global citizenship, the population of over 7 billion people. In the Bible, we are reminded 2 are better than 1, for if either of them falls, one can help the other up. Two are better than one. No one of us can be successful in this life. And in fact, I'll take it one sentence further. No one of us can truly live a spiritually grounded life alone, because we weren't placed into the human experience alone. Two are better than one, for if either of them falls, one can help the other up. And maybe it's a little arrogant for me to add on to what's in Ecclesiastes in the Bible, but I'm going to add to this. Two are better than one, for if either of them falls, one can help the other up. If either of them succeeds, one can celebrate with them together. Both are true. So as we move into this week, I just want to encourage you to, in your mind, have the mantra, we are stronger together. We are stronger together. We are stronger together. And look for opportunities throughout this week. Even if you are sheltering in place at home, you are on Zoom, or you are on a phone call, have that playing in your mind. We are stronger together, and in every conversation you have, in every prayer you speak or write, in everything you do this week, remember that we are stronger together. And even if you, like me, will have moments this week where you are deeply feeling the loss of the physical presence of Stephanie or Paula or Reagan or all three, remember that they are still here. Because every time we have a memory, every time we take a breath and remember or say a prayer of gratitude for the light that each one of them brought into the world, we are simply demonstrating inseparable connection and that we are stronger together, blessed by, encouraged by, and evolving with those who have gone before us, even if they are not physically present.